Hey lovelies! If you are looking to step up your lunch game with something quick, healthy, and delicious, then look no further than this incredible spicy peanut chicken lunch bowl that I have become obsessed with over the last few months. It's one of those things that since I'm working from home, I am making all the time. And I love it most because it can be prepped during my Sunday meal prep and enjoyed throughout the week. So there is really just so much to love about this dish. First of all, it's loaded with crunchy, colorful veggies that are great for you. It's protein packed thanks to the addition of some wonderful chicken. And it is topped with the most flavorful sauce that I think you guys are absolutely going to love. This is one of those sauces that I could honestly put on everything. It's a spicy peanut sauce and it's so easy to make. Now, I make it in this teeny tiny little food processor that I have, which has quickly become one of my favorite kitchen tools. But if you want to do this in a blender or even in a bowl, you can do that just as easily. I am starting with some smooth, natural peanut butter. If you wanted to use almond butter instead in this recipe, you definitely could do that as well. To that, I'm going to add some savory flavor with some tamari, which is just gluten-free soy sauce. Next, to my food processor, I want to add a little bit of tang. So to do that, I've got some rice vinegar headed in here. I also want to add a touch of sweetness to this. I'm using some maple syrup to do that, but you could use some honey or some agave syrup instead if you wanted to. Next, it's all about adding a little bit of spice. And to do that, I have got some chili garlic sauce, one of my very, very favorite Asian-inspired condiments. If you want to leave the spice out of this recipe, you can just grate in some garlic instead. Finally, to round out all these flavors, I've got some freshly grated ginger going in here. There's really no substitute for freshly grated ginger, in my opinion. There's nothing quite like it. I'm just gonna pop the lid on this and give it a good blend. Now, if you find the mixture a little too thick, not to worry at all. You can just thin it out by mixing in a little bit of warm water until it's reached your desired consistency. And just as soon as it's all mixed up, I'm gonna give it a quick taste to make sure your flavors are right. Oh my gosh, there's so much goodness happening here. And that's it. We can set this aside while we get to work on cooking up our chicken. Oh. Now that our sauce is ready, it's time to get to work on preparing our chicken and our rice. So in my pot over here, I have got some brown rice just cooking away. If you wanted to use quinoa here instead, you definitely could, or white rice, or even cauliflower rice if you're living that low carb life is a great option. It's totally up to you. You just wanna let that rice cook away. And in the meantime, I am going to be cooking up my chicken. And here I've got a nonstick skillet with a little bit of oil heating up. And just as soon as that oil is nice and hot, I'm gonna go ahead and add my chicken to it. So here I have about 8 boneless, skinless chicken thighs. As you guys know, that is my favorite cut these days. Super flavorful, a little more affordable than chicken breasts. Now I'm doing 8 here because again, I'm meal prepping this for the week ahead. So I want at least 2 to 3 days worth of lunches. So I wanted to make sure that I did some extra chicken. Now, if you wanted to skip the chicken in this recipe and leave it completely vegetarian, you could just as easily do this with some nice crisp tofu that you can either fry in your pan or bake in the oven. As soon as your tofu is ready, of course, you can toss it in the amazing peanut sauce and you've got magic happening. Now, while my chicken is cooking away, I'm just gonna season it up liberally with a little bit of salt and pepper. Wanna get as much great flavor as we can happening here. And let it cook away until it starts to get nice and golden on all sides. Okay, so you can see not only is my chicken cooked, but I've given it a nice chance to get a little browned as well. That browning not only adds to the amazing texture, but you also get great flavor happening in your chicken when you give it that few extra minutes to get nice and golden on all sides. Now at this point, I've turned my heat down to medium low, and I just wanna go ahead and add about half of that sauce right into my pan. I want my chicken to be really nicely coated, and I don't wanna cook my sauce, but I do wanna give it just a chance to heat up that ginger and that garlic. The other half of my sauce, I'm just gonna set it aside, and I'll just drizzle it over my bowl when I'm ready to enjoy it. So now my rice is ready, my chicken is ready, and the final step before assembling my lunch bowl is just going to be preparing a really simple, crunchy, colorful veggie slaw. And to do that, I have got some nice shredded red cabbage. You could use green too if that's what you have, but I love the beautiful purple color and the antioxidant boost that you get from red cabbage. I'm gonna go ahead and add some broccoli florets to this as well for even more great nutrition and lots of good crunch. And finally, I've got some shredded carrot headed in here. Now, I should mention, if you're someone who experiences tummy trouble when you eat raw vegetables like this, not a problem at all. You can lightly steam these, you could quickly stir fry them, or even roast them up in the oven with a little bit of oil for a few minutes, just to help them soften up and ease those digestion troubles. I, for one, really love raw crunchy vegetables, so I'm gonna leave them that way, but it's really a matter of personal preference here. Then all I wanna do is dress this really, really simply, because of course we're gonna be loading on that peanut dressing at the end. But right now, I just wanna toss my veggies in just a little bit of oil and a splash of rice vinegar. One of my favorite vinegars to cook with, I should mention. We'll give this just a really quick toss until everything's well coated. Ooh, everything will try to jump out of your bowl, as it always does in my kitchen. And now it's time, friends, to bring this all together. And am I ever excited? Look at all that color. Once my slaw is mixed up, all the components of my lunch bowl are ready to be assembled. Now, if you're meal prepping this in advance, you can basically store all of these different components in the refrigerator until they're ready to be assembled just before enjoying. What I like to do is start with a nice helping of that brown rice in the base of my serving bowl. Then I top that with lots of that beautiful crunchy slaw. On top of that goes my chicken that is super flavorful. And then I like to drizzle on a little more of that amazing spicy peanut sauce. I'm gonna finish this off with a little bit of cilantro and some lime wedges for good measure, and it is ready to be enjoyed. Like I said, you can make all of this ahead of time and then just assemble before lunch. So this is the perfect sort of meal prep meal or make ahead meal, which I love. Guys, this is a lunch that you will feel absolutely amazing about. Not only is it great for you, but it also tastes just as good as it looks. There is so much to love, and I hope you will give it a try for yourselves. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because you know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. Remember, this recipe, like all of my recipes, is featured on healthymealplans.com, our amazing meal planning site that allows you to browse more than 1,000 recipes, drag and drop them into your weekly meal plan, and then automatically generates your grocery list for the week. How easy is that? On the site, I've got tons of great lunch inspiration just like this, so you can check it all out. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.